Hello everybody, my name is Master Chen.
I'm Zenify.
And you are either listening to or watching Mental Overflow. Today, this is episode 10 of this show that we're doing here. And we are, like every time we do this, we are at the Sin Shop Hackerspace in Las Vegas. That's 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C in Henderson, Nevada. First of all, really quick, this is a tangent. What are your thoughts on sharing that? Because I know that there are a lot of YouTubers out there that don't want their actual presence or physical address to be known.
Well, it's a hackerspace. I mean, I think it's fine. I don't really see any issues with it. I mean, I think if people wanted to, if they wanted to find us, if there was it's what I always say. If there's if you have an adversary or threat actor against you, like a physical person, and they were dedicated enough, I'm gonna get to you.
Yeah,
just a matter of time.
And I'll tell you, full disclosure, I haven't made a full effort on Better OPSEC, which maybe I should, but that's besides the point.
Yeah,
anyway, we are at Sin Shop. Like I said, it is 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C in Henderson, Nevada. It's still the Las Vegas Valley Hackerspace. We are recording here like we do every Monday night, but we're not live, so it doesn't really matter what day this is. Yeah. So this is a series called Mental Overflow, and it's kind of, it's an ongoing series. It's not like it's not like we're gonna be stopping anytime soon. Yeah. But this particular podcast is focused on social engineering. Maybe Zenify wants to talk a little bit about automation every now and then, but it's really social engineering, psychology, and how the two interact, or how the two are together. You can get us at Mental Overflow on Twitter, and I am at Chenbox, CHENB0X on the Twitters.
I'm Zenify_EXE.
Yep. So that's how you get a hold of us, and more points of contact will be coming out. I know I keep saying that every episode, but more points of contact will be coming out as soon as we get that set up. We're doing this part-time right now, so it's getting there. It's getting there. You know what, though? Small victories, right? This is episode 10.
Yeah,
so
we've been consistent. It's kind of funny how we recorded our other podcast in this room once, and then we bailed on this room and went out there.
Yeah, but we had some problems with using this room. Our other podcast, which for those of you who don't know, we are part of Gray Noise as well. But our other podcast, we had 4 hosts, plus you and the other producer, and there was that alone was trying to fit this in this room.
Was kind of tough.
It was tough, and then you had the live audience members who wanted to come in and hang out, and
I think our first night we had 10 or 12 people.
We had quite a few people.
It got hot.
It got hot too, because I think it was also it wasn't summer, but it wasn't winter either. Yeah, that got hot real quick.
It was rough.
But this room is good for the two of us.
Yeah,
just the two of us.
Yeah. Well, eventually we're gonna turn this into a craft room, so we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do.
Well, we could also set up somewhere else, but it's no big deal. We'll figure it out.
Anyways, you're wearing a DEF CON shirt. What about DEF CON?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. I was going to totally forget. No, but really quick, small victories. This is the 10th episode. Like you said, consistency. I'm really happy with what we've recorded so far, and I really hope that you guys at home watching or listening are enjoying the shows as we produce them. So, now to answer your question, Zenify, I just decided to wear my DEF CON shirt today. There was no big thing about it, but thank you for reminding me, because I did submit 2 talks to DEF CON.
That's good.
One of them
I've ever submitted.
Well, one of them I specifically in the email said, please consider this as a DEF CON 101 track. I know this particular subject isn't really the most advanced thing you've heard of.
Okay.
And then the other thing I submitted for is actually, it's building on some old work that I've done on a DC Sky Talk that I did in 2015. Okay. And I'm building on that work. The way I've advertised it, or the way I've presented it, is, so I did this talk about stalking, stalking people. And this talk that I'm presenting, that I finished submitting today, is about the antidote.
Okay.
So I don't want to get into too many details, but that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. Now our unicorn reviews DEF CON B-sides papers. Just talk to her on Twitter and butter her up.
Well, thanks for now showing. Now the conspiracy is recorded. Thanks, Zenify.
Yeah,
Now Yeah, no.
That's how you got in.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not cheating. I don't want to give anybody the hint that I'm cheating.
No.
But if I could social engineer the way, no, I'm kidding. Okay, so if you'll notice, or if you've seen some prior episodes, like each episode kind of they're loosely associated, or they kind of compound off of each other. Sometimes it'll happen that way. Sometimes it won't. Like I think the last episode or 2 episodes ago, we were talking about recommended reading, or
episode 8.
Yeah, and then
7.
That's right. And then in episode 9, we're talking about social engineering exercises. Like for instance, how I can get really information that does not matter, like your mom's birthday. Like that doesn't matter to your PII really. I mean, realistically, that little piece of data. Yeah. But if I could get that from you, without any effort, that's a sign of a good social engineer. Yeah. And so today, what I wanted to talk about is word association, and using word association in a way to kind of see where your mindset is at, and see how I can then use that analysis to get into your mind, right? Yeah. So word association, much like a Rorschach test in psychology, you're given an image or you're given a word, and then you're asked by the therapist or whoever's conducting this to give your response to that word or to that phrase. And so Zenify, actually, you can't see my notebook right now because your screen is blocking it, which is a good thing. I have 10 words here. Okay. And I just want you to come up with the first word that comes to your mind when I say these words. Okay. And actually, where I'm going with this is maybe going to be a little bit of audience participation, but and I'll explain that after this. So let's start with the word association. Okay. First word, Earth.
Planet.
Okay. All right. Second word, phone.
You.
Me. Okay. This is really good, and I'll tell you why this is really good after we get to the rest of the words. Okay. Coffee.
Peeing.
Okay. Radio.
Non-existent.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cute.
My girlfriend.
Okay. Water.
Thirsty.
Okay. Pie.
Good.
Okay. Are you hungry?
Oh, yeah.
See? Okay. Let's see. Wind.
Annoying.
Okay. Fire.
Hot.
Okay. So those are the 10 words. It was a small list just to kind of see where mine is now. Now, I know you. Mm-hmm. We've been friends for a while, but even with these 10 words, I'll tell you what I can kind of pull from that data already. Yeah. Okay? I said Earth. You said planet. Now, yeah, that's pretty easy, basic, elementary. But if you think about it, if I were to say Earth and somebody else were to say, trees or associate it with nature, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But you said planet, I would start to think that maybe you're into something like science, which you are. Yeah. Okay, so that's where I'm kind of going with this, right? Wait, did I give you metal, or did I skip that word?
You may have skipped that
word. God damn it. Okay, metal.
Glasses.
Yeah. Okay. So that's my mistake. Yeah. I accidentally skipped that word. I was trying to randomize it. So, people maybe watching at home are like, "Wait a minute, he only said like 9 words." Shit. Sorry. Okay. So now phone. You said me because the whole phone freaking thing, right? So that's where your mind is at. Coffee. I could see peeing because of course it's a diuretic. Radio, non-existent, which is very interesting because I know you don't listen to the radio. Yeah. You listen to podcasts. Yeah. You listen to things that are not on the radio.
To me, I don't think I've ever turned my radio on in my car. I know the function's there, but I've only ever used Bluetooth otherwise.
Right. Yeah. So now here's where I was hoping I would get you to do one thing, but you did the other. So I said pie. I was really hoping you were going to say something along the lines of automation or computer or
I could have
something with the Raspberry Pi, but at least I know now that you're hungry.
I'm definitely hungry. I'm gonna get Panda Express after this.
Right. So cute. Of course, you said girlfriend, of course, because I was either gonna think you were gonna mention girlfriend or maybe your dogs or something along those lines, right? Yeah. Something nice and something that causes you happiness, right? I did say water. What did you? Oh, you're thirsty. Yeah. Right. Wind, annoying, right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who think the wind is annoying.
Fucking hate the wind, dude. It is so annoying.
Right. And so the last...
Which is kind of weird, though. Sidetrack. I can't sleep without 2 fans on to generate enough white noise, like wind noise, in my room. But yet I also find the wind terribly annoying.
Well, here's the funny thing. I'm the same way. I have to sleep with a fan on or whatever. Or even... I fall asleep to Netflix all the time. You know this. I tell you this all the time.
You never finish a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. I must have seen Cloverfield Paradox like 9 times. The first half.
Yeah.
Right, just falling asleep to it. Not that it's a bad movie, but just I use Netflix as my sleep. No, but I also have the fan running. But what's funny is a light wind is fine. But lately, because Vegas, we're going through a change of season right now. It's getting really windy, and at night it sounds quite terrifying. Actually, yeah. I'm kind of afraid.
There was like a couple weeks ago where it was like, "What the fuck is going on outside?"
Yeah,
it was nuts.
It was something that it's like even though you were tired, you didn't want to sleep.
Yeah,
because it was just like, wow, what the hell's gonna happen? I'm gonna fall asleep and wake up with a tree. On my roof.
Yeah, nuts.
Anyway, and I also said fire too, right?
Yeah, I said hot.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at... They're only 10 words. Anyway, my point being is that if I use this word association, I can kind of get an idea of like a mental picture of what you're either thinking about, what's on your mind at the time, maybe.
How to process things.
Right, exactly. So
or
now...
perceive.
Yes. So it's a very interesting exercise. What do you think about it so far?
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I could see that it works, like especially with like the hunger thing.
Right.
Like if I didn't have lunch today. I didn't leave my office today. But I imagine if I probably would have had lunch, it's possible that I would have gone with Raspberry Pi or Raspberry Pi Zero because you and I are working on a project.
Right.
To those degree. But I am hungry. And so I was like, pie. Oh, fuck, man. Pumpkin pie. Fucking apple pie.
Right. So my point being is that, again, I'm kind of picking apart your mentality at the moment, current mentality. Of course, mentality can change with circumstances. Now, here's the challenge, and here's where I would need either your help or maybe audience participation with comments in the section down below. Remember to like and subscribe, but that's besides the point. It's easy here.
Yeah.
It's easy as I'm sitting across from you to do this kind of exercise and to do this kind of chat about it, conversation, right? Yeah. But when it comes to pulling this off in a pen test or pulling this off in a con, for lack of a better word, that's the challenge, right? Is to not only do this word association with, let's say, your target, your victim, or your subject, but also then using that information to maybe push the conversation one way or the other. And of course, you can do that with framing, which we talked about a few episodes back. But you can tailor the framing with maybe how they respond to this word association.
Yeah.
But now again, my challenge is maybe something you help me with. How do we turn this word association into just natural conversation?
Yeah.
Like I can't just look at you and say, okay, pie. What's the?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I
So that's the challenge, and that's something I got to think about.
Yeah. Turn that into.
I mean,
I'm trying to think of ways to I could definitely think of ways to automate it with the more black hat side of things, like if you're doing any sort of injections or somebody on someone's web page and they think they're, to log in their website, they have to answer a new set of security questions, but yet those security questions are actually tailored to what I'm trying to figure out, build a word list or some shit off that. That's where I'm trying to think of this from, but
you wouldn't see that in the wild, though.
You definitely wouldn't see that in the wild. So that's kind of where I think your head and my head differ, because I'm so in the background at my workstation trying to conduct any sort of activity, but you're more sociable and you're out there in the field, like live and physical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. So I think that's where some parts of our mentality differ, which is why I lean more towards automating things in a way, even though you automate tons of shit.
Well, so where you were going with it, I could kind of see, right? Like, putting up a web page for them to somewhat answer this as like a form of security, questions to then build a word list. I can see that, but the thing is, again, like your security questions for certain accounts are predetermined when you first make the account, right? Like, so you make the account, you make the password, you enable two-factor authentication, I hope, right? Right? That's what you're doing. But then you also have these security questions that are determined at that point. Yeah. So you can't just say, okay, well, answer your security question. What do you think about when I say pi? Yeah. That's not going to be a security question.
Yeah.
However, now I'm thinking. Now I wasn't even thinking about this until you said it, but now I'm wondering about like a network injection attack where you are a man in the middle, and you are maybe it'll be some sort of subliminal attack where you're injecting these words randomly throughout a web page, like maybe on the side, not necessarily in an article that the person's reading, but like let's say you did an ad hijack, right? Like where you hijack what ads are being posted on a web page that the user is visiting.
Yeah. And
you have these flash images of, I don't know, a phone or Pi or a Raspberry Pi, the computer, not the Pi. But see, I don't know where I would go with this word association.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm not going to claim that I have all the answers. I just thought that this was a really cool exercise. How do we get this into social engineering? Or how do we get this into working this into the conversation, or working this into whatever project we're working on?
Yeah. I think we may have talked about this in an earlier episode when, like, somebody in, like, a group would use a certain word, but the others aren't used to using that certain word, but by the end of the conversation, they start using that word. I do a freaking ton with the word plethora. You know, plethora, many, stuff like that. Nobody fucking says that word. It's very rare that I hear that word in the wild. I'll use it at work in the morning, random offbeat conversation. I'll hear the fucking engineering department start saying the word plethora, even though they never say it any other time. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. And so I don't know if we talked about that in an earlier episode, but
I'm not sure if
it's almost like that word injection.
Yeah. And that makes another thing that you reminded me of too is I've been listening to, we all listen to podcasts, but I've noticed that I start to use the word or the phrase, I'd argue that, and then phrase, or I'd argue that, and so I think I know which podcast I'm listening to that gives me that's putting that in my head, but I think that's where that's coming from.
So I've used the word tactic, the word injection tactic, in a way to see if people are eavesdropping. If I'm in a restaurant or in a place long enough, and I've used, I don't want to call them fancy words, but they're not typical daily use words, use them, and then if the person next to you also starts saying them, then you might have a little bit more of a strong assumption that they're listening in on your conversations.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. I've done it just when I've been suspicious of things. It's fucking stupid. It never leads anywhere. I don't know these people. But I've just done it in the past because I'm a very fucking neurotic, observing person.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home and start using the word neurotic now.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, and maybe that's how something like this exercise can be used, is to maybe figure out if somebody is listening to you, or not even in an eavesdropping sense, but like in a if I am having a conversation with you and I know that you are not just hearing me, but you are actually listening to me.
Yeah.
Maybe you start to use some of the words that I start to use.
Used previously, yeah.
Right. So hey, maybe that's what it is. But if you at home have any other ideas of how we can use word association in social engineering tactics, or in building it into the conversation that we're having with a target, a mark, an opponent, whatever you want to call it, let us know. I'm interested in this. Like I said, I'm not always going to have all the answers. Actually, Zenify, I learned quite a bit from your experience today. But that's just kind of where my mind was at today, and so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I think it's a great exercise. Yeah. I think I picked a little bit of where your mind is at today. Yeah. That was kind of cool. So we'll see where that goes, and maybe if I think of other things, we could revisit this topic a few weeks later.
Yeah, totally.
So anyway, that's what I had on my mind. Yeah. Zenify, do you have anything else?
No.
No?
Yeah.
All right. So we will be back again next week, like always, with episode 11. And you can get me at Chenbox, CHENB0X, on Twitter and most social media. That's what I am.
Mm-hmm. And then me, Zenify_EXE.
Yes. Again, please like and subscribe. And if you want to become a sponsor of Mental Overflow, let us know. We are looking to build this thing into whatever it can become. I'm open to all ideas. So, and that's all I've got for you guys today. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you.